Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elevate. My name is Jessica.
My name is Darwin.
Today we're talking about toxic in-laws.
Oof.
Ooh, this topic came about last minute because I didn't think I was going to be talking about this today. My DMs got juicy.
They were sliding in your DMs.
With this topic. This morning, I posted a picture. It all started because, a bride was sharing how all her bridesmaids wore white along with her. So I was like, wow, I'd never seen that before. But she explained how she thought it was a classic look.
Yeah.
And she just thought it was aesthetically pleasing.
And it was.
It was very nice. I after I saw it, I was like, wow, that's a good
like,
idea.
Our shit look like a Sweet 16 compared to hers.
I was like, wow, that's a good idea. But
You want to get married again?
sure.
I'm down.
When we're doing this.
When we got a lot of money.
Okay, good. I'll be waiting. So, I just thought it was nice. And she was talking about how she was getting, people's comment about like, oh my God, but who's the bride? Because they're all wearing white. But obviously she definitely looks like the bride because she had a bridal gown on and everybody else just had white dresses and they looked gorgeous. They all looked gorgeous. Yeah. And she was just saying how she didn't mind her bridesmaids having white along with her because if she was looking fabulous, she wanted her bridesmaids to look and feel just as fabulous as she did on that day, which I applaud her for that.
The way she broke it down was like perfect.
I loved it. I was like, that is awesome. And, I know that not every bride would like that and it's respected. I don't think everybody should want that. Everybody has their own vision of what their wedding day would be. But I like that she broke it down that way because it made it seem... It shows how confident she is in herself.
But the way I also, sorry for interrupting, but the way I told you was that if it was like one person besides the bride wearing white, then you could see like, why is this person wearing white?
Yeah, I see that would be disrespectful. Yeah. Because, she asked, it was her request to have her bridesmaids wear white. So, obviously, if you're the bride and it's your wedding, it's your day. It would be disrespectful to show up to a wedding that's not an all-white wedding and you wear white. Like, what are you doing here? But yeah, I just thought that was amazing and the way she broke it down was beautiful and I thought it was very selfless and it just showed how confident she is in herself. But from that conversation, my husband sends me a picture of it was in the newspaper. A news article. And it says, my toxic mother-in-law wore a white gown to my wedding, then gaslit me. Now,
dun, dun, dun.
I expressed on my stories how that's a different topic.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole nother thing. And I didn't realize cuántas suegras malas hay. There's a lot of bad mother-in-laws out there. And I know this topic brings a lot of heat because there's so many stories of like mother-in-laws that don't get along with their daughter-in-laws and, how either the daughter-in-law is making the mother-in-law's life a living hell or the other way around. But usually you hear the mother-in-law
of the son usually. Because they say it's usually because of the mother being jealous
of the bride, right?
Taking her little boy.
Which I think it's ridiculous. In all honesty, I think it's ridiculous. And I think that as a mother, I have a son. And I know I'm not there yet. He's only 9. And I know some of you may want to come for me and say, well, you're not there yet. Just wait until you get there. Well, listen. I know my son is not for me forever. He's going to have to make his own life.
I'm for her.
Exactly. I married my husband to have children to bring to this world so that they later on can have their own life. How am I, as the mother of my child, even if it hurts me, even if I feel like my little boy, he's grown up, now this woman, is taking him away from me. I'm sure I might feel some of those feelings whenever he grows up and he has a girlfriend, and he's thinking about getting married. I'm sure I will. But in all honesty, I think as long as I see my son happy, I will be happy. I can't see myself being that mother-in-law that's just trying to get in the way. It's not right.
Yeah, it's like, and then you, like, I get the jealous part of it, but also, like, why?
Right. Like, especially if there's no reason. Because,
like, you ain't dating your son. Like, what, you want him to be single for the rest of his life?
It can get a little weird sometimes. And I've heard these comments too, you know, the women talking about, oh no, like he's such a mama's boy, for example. Which in turn brings it to a different topic. Well, brings it to a different perspective. Sometimes the son is the one that needs to put a stop to this. You have to explain to your mom, hey, I'm not a little boy anymore. And if you're going to be a man who walks down the aisle with a bride, who you're trying to make this woman your wife, you need to man up because you're about to take responsibility, or you should at least. If you're planning to get married to someone, you are the man of that household. You are the one to hold it down for that household. So you need to act as a man. And I feel in those situations where, let's say the mother-in-law, and I'm speaking from the perspective of the mother-in-law being the husband's mother. I know it could come from both parties, but the most common scenario is that the mom of the husband is the one jealous. That you as the son need to put a stop to this behavior because it's going to trickle down to your marriage. Why? Because no wife wants to be married to someone who has a mother who acts like the second wife.
Yeah.
It's just not, and for the mothers, just put yourself in that woman's shoes. When you got married, or if you are married, did you want or do you want your mother-in-law to be in your husband and yours, in your business, to be in your family business in that way? It's not a good feeling. No woman wants that. None.
There was a time early in our relationship. Why are you smiling like that? Right, that this was like very early on. Not many people know the story. People probably talk crap because my mom passed away, and I'm probably gonna talk about her, but it is what it is. She's my mom.
Okay, I mean, you can say the story because it's your mom, but may she rest in peace because she's.
Oh, yeah, of course. So I'm gonna give. There was an incident that things was not aligned with whatever she thought it should be, right? How did you see it? So I obviously took your side.
You did.
Because I didn't allow anything to escalate or whatever, but she saw that I was on your side, period. Like there was no question about it.
And she didn't like that.
She didn't.
But then she realized that, hey, this is my son's life. And if I want to be in his life, I need to respect his family. And that's kind of how it went. I appreciate that you did that.
How do you feel? Like, did you feel like, damn, he just disrespected his mother? Or was it like, damn, he stood up for me?
I appreciated you stood up for me because had you not stood up for me, this would have continued. This is what I say. This is why I say it's the man's responsibility to put a stop to their mother when their mother is getting too much in the business. And you don't have to be disrespectful. In a respectful manner, say, this is the woman I chose for my life. You need to respect her as much as the wife also needs to respect the mother-in-law. It goes both ways. Yeah. It's not that I'm just taking the side of the daughter-in-law. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, you both need to respect each other. Why? Because you as a wife need to respect your husband's mother, and the mother, you need to respect your husband's wife. He chose that woman for a reason. You may, for instance, not like her because maybe you feel like she takes advantage of your son, whatever the case may be. But you need to trust that you have raised a man that can speak up for himself, that can take care of himself, and stop treating this man like he's a little boy.
Yeah.
Period.
And if you're a man, you need to man up, because if this is your wife and the person like you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you're just allowing your mother to just step in and step all over her, like you're not giving her the respect she deserves. like they're two different type of loves. Like your mother's love and your wife's love are different.
Absolutely.
So it's like, your mom probably will get mad at you and she'll probably get over it. But the fact of her seeing like, wow, he stood up for her, like, yeah, he must really love her because he talked bad to me, and you don't even have to talk bad to her. Like, you can be respectful and talk to her, but just show her that, like, this is for real. Like, this is my wife, and
you have to respect her.
Haz lo que tú quieras.
I mean, and maybe don't do it publicly. Maybe your mom will get extremely offended if you do this publicly. But pull your mother to the side and say, Mom, this is my happiness you're messing with. This is the woman I chose. I believe she is the right woman for me. And if you have anything to say about it, I mean, it's your mom. She can give you advice respectfully. But I choose whether I want to take that advice or not. And I need you to respect my decisions. You cannot allow this to get in between your marriage because it will bring long-term problems. And earlier we were on TikTok Live and somebody said, yeah, I'm going to therapy because of my in-law. This really can become an issue. And also, I know that not every daughter-in-law is easy to deal with because we all have faults. And just how there are toxic mother-in-laws, there are also toxic daughter-in-laws. Yeah. And I know that some daughter-in-laws can be very toxic and they can be very dividing when it comes to the mother of the husband, because a daughter-in-law can also feel jealousy from her mother-in-law. So, but
it still goes back to the man. Like, at that point, he should be talking to his wife. Like, listen, like, I don't know what it is, but you need to respect her because she's my mother. At
all costs. I respect my mother. You need to respect my mother as I respect her, if not more, because she's not your mother. And it needs to go both ways, everybody. If that person the mother-in-law is way too toxic, you need to set boundaries. Yeah. If they're not willing to listen, if they're not willing to do what it takes, some mother-in-laws can be very dramatic.
Super.
Very dramatic, and they can put up a scene. And if you're that type of son who just can't handle to see your mother in distress, she's gonna manipulate you. She's gonna manipulate you for sure because she knows your weak spot. You cannot let that get in the way. I truly believe that if your mother sees that you're serious and that you care for your wife, or maybe you have children already and you care for your family and that you demand respect for your family, she will eventually understand that. Yeah. And she will respect your family. Now, if she refuses to, even after you making the request, even after you speaking to her respectfully and stating, I need you to really respect my privacy with my wife. I need you to just respect my boundaries. And she's still being dramatic and giving the opinion that nobody asked her to, or coming into your house without unannounced all the time, despite you saying you don't appreciate that, you need to set boundaries.
There was that thing that you just said, like showing up unannounced. There was a TikTok one time that it was the wife posted it and she was getting heat, and it was that her and her husband had a rule that nobody can show up to their house unannounced. Nobody.
I agree.
Like, not my mom, not my dad. And that day, his parents showed up. And she was like, you're not allowed in here. Like, she literally told him, like, you're not allowed in here. And they was like, yeah, I'm coming in. And she's like, no, you're not allowed. And then she called her husband. And her husband told his parents, like, no, you're not allowed. Like, you didn't call us to announce. Like, and they was already at the door.
Ooh.
And he was like, nah, you're not allowed in the house.
I don't know if this happened previously to them. Maybe if it has happened before and they had stated that they don't like
it was visitors. Apparently like very strict rules. And they
but I'm saying if it was the first time that this happened, I don't think I would have been that strict if it was like the first incident.
But the thing is that if you aren't that strict, that means
but if it's the first time, then maybe they don't know. Maybe they didn't know that you didn't want visitors unannounced. If it's the first time that this happens, I wouldn't be like, no, you can't come in. But if this has happened in the past and I don't like visitors unannounced and you keep doing it, like disregarding the way I feel about my space, this is my home that I built with my husband, then yeah, I would definitely reinforce it if it's not the first time.
Yeah, but I don't think you will kick your mom out from the front door.
If I've I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Because my mom is very respectful.
Yeah.
So I can't even picture myself doing that because my mom would never. No. And you know what? It really depends on the type of relationship you have with your mother and father-in-law, with your in-laws. It really, really, truly depends on the relationship you have with them. Because I know that there's some wonderful in-laws. So for you wonderful in-laws.
My in-laws are wonderful.
For you wonderful in-laws out there, bless you guys. Thank you so much for being amazing. Thank you so much for being understanding. Thank you so much for respecting our space. That is so truly appreciated.
Jessica has such a great father-in-law that he's never invaded her space.
Never. You're funny.
He's not around.
He's not interested. No, but seriously, just thank you to all the great in-laws out there. I'm not trying to talk crap about all of you. I know there's some great in-laws out there.
Thanks.
And kudos to you. You guys are amazing.
But I feel like even if your mom was to show up, like, I'd never mind them. Just like.
But this is what I'm about to say. It really depends on the relationship you have with your in-laws, because some in-laws are so respectful of your space that you wouldn't even mind them coming in unannounced. Literally. I have a problem with like just anybody who's not my mom and dad coming unannounced to my house. But my parents, they're so respectful of my space that one, is very rare that they show up without telling me that they're coming. And if they were to do that, I wouldn't mind it because, again, they're very respectful of our space. My mom and my dad never, and I mean never, get into like our deep conversations or try to like sway us into doing something or
act like it's their, like, I don't even think your mom has that room in our bedroom unless like,
unless
we
we're
like,
calling her
to
to
bring her in. But even in our old apartment, like, she would never go in the bedroom.
Never. And it's not because I tell my mom you can't come in. She just understands. She gets it. And I think it comes from the fact that my mom didn't have the best mom-in-law. I've heard stories of, how my mom wasn't really what they wanted for my dad. Mm-hmm. And so she gets it. She understands what that feels like. And so that's also, what I encourage mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws to do. Put yourself in the shoes of that other person. If you are the daughter-in-law and you're making your mother-in-law's life a living hell and you have a son, prepare yourself because karma's real.
And it's also like
what goes around comes around.
And it's also just toxic, like living like that. Like,
it's not necessary.
My wife don't like my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law don't like my thing. We can't get together because there's always an argument and there's bickering. It's like
it's toxic, unnecessary toxicity in the air.
Especially if like both of the in-laws don't get along.
Oh my God, no.
That's just divorce and move on.
It's sad because,
not divorce, but like,
no, exactly. It's sad because if you really love your partner and that part doesn't align, or, you're either having problems with your mother-in-law, your father-in-law from one side or the other, or both sides, it makes things so complicated. And for the holidays, it's not the same. And, birthdays are not the same.
I feel like that happens when like, let's say the two people are not the same level, like either like the families are not like, let's say one is upper class, one is lower class or mid class. They're like,
or they're very different and they don't respect their differences, which is crazy to me because even if you're different, the fact that you guys became one family because you have children who decided to come together in marriage, you should make the effort to, at least while you have them around, get along.
That's why you have to just step up as like a partnership in a marriage. Because at the end of the day, everything is you. Is like whatever will benefit you towards the future. Like I've said this before and I feel like I stand by it, that even like when it comes to like our kids, like my kids are my life, right? But my kids don't come before my wife, right? Like my wife is going to be there forever. And people will say like, what God do you mean? This is like obviously. But, you know, people would be like, what do you mean? But the same thing goes for kids. Like your kids could turn out bad and like not want to talk to you or stuff like that. Or get married.
Your kids are not forever either. I mean, they will be your kids forever, but they're going to make their own life.
Yeah, most kids will make their own life. And if the family was never like really family oriented, most likely that's going to happen. So like I always say, like my wife comes before my kids, even though my kids are my life. Like I live for my kids.
Right.
But my
wife will always be our life. But we understand that they're not for us forever.
Exactly.
They're always going to be our kids and they will always be able to come to us. But my husband is the person that I go to for everything forever until he's alive. Until I'm alive. We are here for each other. We signed up to be in each other's life. My kids didn't sign up to be in my life.
Yeah.
I chose to be their mother.
Yeah.
So bringing them to this life and then when they grow up, they're trying to do the same thing you did. Form a family, find some love, and then make them feel bad for the person they chose, or make them feel like they have to choose between their wife and their mom. It's just devastating for any son.
You can always, like, you have to guide your kids, but not tell them, like, especially if you don't have like an open relationship where you know everything. Like, you can't just be like, no, this person is not for you.
No.
Right? I'll give you the perfect example. If Jessica's mother was like that with me, I would probably not have been in the picture, because when they saw me from like the outside, from the inside looking out, or
from the outside looking in,
right? I wasn't the perfect guy for you
when we met. Yeah, right.
So she could have been like, nah, like I'm cutting like all contact. Let's do it. And she didn't do that.
No.
She would like make me. I had to like work my way in, right? Like I couldn't.
You were an observation.
I couldn't take her out. Like if I wanted to see her, I had to go to her house and like be formal and be in her living room.
But what it all boils down to is communication with your kids and the type of relationship you have with them over the years. Because I think that if you grow a strong relationship with your son or daughter, as they get older, if they have that trust in you, as they get older, you might think that they're not going to listen to me because I'm their parent. But trust me, certain things stick.
Yeah.
Certain things stick. And you have to trust your parenting. You have to trust what you taught them growing up. You have to trust that when they grow up, they're going to know right from wrong and they're going to know when to walk away. You need to build this relationship as your kids are growing up. You can't expect to not have a relationship with your child while they're growing up. And then once they're an adult, you want to make all the decisions in their life for them, because that's not how it works. Did it work like that for you? No, I'm sure when you were young and in your teenage years and you found someone you were in love with or you liked, you know, it's like your parents could tell you, no, I don't want you with that person. But in your mind, you're like, forget about it. I love them. Like, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're handsome. Whatever it is, this is how it is. And if we want our children to listen to us, because most definitely, if I see that my son chooses a person who I feel is toxic for him or is taking him down the wrong path, as a mother, I'm most definitely going to feel devastated about that. But I need to watch the way I approach that with my son. Why? Because I don't want my son to feel like I just don't want him to have a girl. I want him to understand that I want what's best for him. And I want him to be able to listen to my words and actually listen to what I'm saying and not just feel like I'm just being dramatic.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when us moms get dramatic about everything. Then our kids start blocking us because they're like, I don't know, my mom just overreacts over everything. So all of a sudden it's just going to seem like you're just overreacting. So it's important that when we speak to our children as they're growing up and we start building this relationship with them, that they understand, no, I just want what's best for you. And I know many sons that have been in this situation And they feel like they trust their mom and they trust their mother's instinct. And a lot of the times they might not right away say, you know what, okay, forget it. My mom said she doesn't like this girl, so I'm not even going to give her the chance. No, but he's going to keep what you said in the back of his mind.
He'll be like, is this the girl I'm bringing home? Like,
right.
Yeah.
And if you have a good relationship with your son and he trusts you and you're not the type of mom who's dramatic over everything, he will keep what you say in the back of his mind and he will continue to date this girl and see how she is and keep testing her to see if she is the one.
Yeah, observe.
Right. So we need to trust our parenting. And I know a lot of you might look at me and say, you haven't gone through it. You're still too young. Your kid is... It's not about that. It's common sense.
Yeah.
If you want your son to be in your life, you're going to have to be a good mother-in-law because this is the wife your son chose. And if you want your grandkids and your son to be around you, you're going to have to get along with your daughter-in-law. It's just the way it is.
And also understand that even if you like choose like let's say yes, like date this girl, like it's not just because you allowed it to, that doesn't mean it's going to work out. So you need to understand that not all relationships work out. So you might, like, they might break up and you might have to accept another one, even though you love this one. And you might not love the new one more than you love the last one, but it wasn't compatible. It didn't work.
And the relationship isn't with you.
Exactly.
The daughter-in-law doesn't have to have a relationship with you as the mother-in-law.
And
their relationship needs to be between them.
And you won't know everything. Like, even though you feel
shouldn't
like
know everything.
you feel like your bond with your child is so strong that he tells you everything. First of all, you shouldn't say everything in your marriage to anybody. Like, that should be between you and your wife. Not even a therapist should know freaking everything. Fuck that.
Okay, te pasaste. But no, but I get it. Yeah, I agree too. That's another thing. I don't think mother-in-laws, father-in-laws should know all your business in marriage. Because a marriage is for two.
And this is a side note. This is way off topic. But stop telling your friends about your sex life with your partner.
Oh, definitely. That's definitely a big no.
But
you need, I feel like,
I just wanted to say that because we was talking about, like,
you need advice. I don't know. Go see sex therapy or something. But anything is better than telling your friends your sex life. That is too much.
It's a good topic for a podcast.
For many reasons. You don't know other people's intentions. It's way too many things that can go wrong. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a no. That you can have like a mentor, maybe older couples, maybe someone you know at church, an older couple who you trust, maybe, who are your mentors as couples. But I also feel like you need to be very careful who you take marriage advice from. Yeah. Because not everybody is in that space of marriage and understands what marriage entails. So telling your friends who are single and have never been married in a day in their life wouldn't really help you because they've never been in the situation. You need to seek knowledgeable people, wise people who have been through what you're going through and can guide you the right way. So that's also another thing. You don't take advice from just anybody especially when it comes to marriage. So to finish off this topic that is very loaded, all I'm going to say is guard your peace, guard your family. If you are a man who decided to get married, you have a family to take care of now. You cannot be mama's boy. You will always be mama's boy. Yeah. But you need to act like the man of your house, and you need to set boundaries. If you have a mother who's overstepping, like I said, all relationship with in-laws are not the same. There's some great in-laws out there. But if you have that in-law that is constantly gossiping about your wife, or she doesn't like your wife and she's making your wife feel not seen, not heard, and whenever you guys are in gatherings, she's making your wife feel like she's less than. Yeah. She is making comments that are unsolicited and not asked for, making your wife feel uncomfortable. You need to step in as a man, and you need to set boundaries.
Agreed.
Because this will ruin your marriage, and if you love your wife, you cannot allow this to happen. You, as the man of the house, need to take control of that. It is not your wife's job to do this. Actually, she shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
she should not have to put your mother in her place, because then that would require her probably getting a little feisty and disrespectful because by that point, probably she's already boiling because your mom has made her, reach her point. And so she shouldn't have to defend herself from her mother-in-law. This is your job. This is your mother. You can respectfully ask your mother to respect your boundaries and respect your family. And that's it. I mean, what else? Do you have any other points to add?
That's it. It's enough about the in-laws.
Yes. So if there's any other points, because I know there's many different ways this can go, you guys can leave the comments down below.
We read them.
Yes, we do. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. Our statistics state that most of you are not subscribed to our channel. So please hit subscribe because it really helps out our channel. Hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time we post a video. If you're on Spotify, please leave us your reviews. And that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening, thank you so much for watching. If you're here on YouTube, until next time.
Peace.